Howdy, partners, and welcome back to this week's edition of the New Variety Arts Show. My name is Brad Zinn, and I'm your host as we prepare to meet another fascinating entertainer from the world of variety arts. You know, we've had all kinds of entertainers on our program, from belly dancers and caricaturists to clowns, mimes, jugglers, magicians, hypnotists, and psychics. And we hope that by giving you an opportunity to meet these folks one-on-one, you'll have a little better appreciation of what they do the next time you have a chance to see a variety arts performer live and in person. And we'd like to hear from you at this number, area code number. And if you have an idea for a program, or if you're a variety arts performer and would like to be on the show, or if you have a variety arts performance coming up, let us know and we'll do our best to promote it for you here on the program so that people can come and enjoy variety arts performances the way they were meant to be, and that's live and in person. And here's somebody who's live and in person today, at least, Van Corriton, our musical director.
Last time I checked, I was...
Howdy, Van.
Howdy.
We have, today is Western Day, although neither one of us are dressed Western. Today is Western Day. Tell us where in the wild and woolly West people can come and see you every day.
Oh, yeah. They can come to the fabulous Western Steinway Piano. Join me there for the afternoon tea at the fabulous Venetian.
So they can mosey on down?
They can mosey on down for afternoon tea.
And what time is that?
3 to 5 p.m.
3 to 5
Before
p.m.
the cows come home.
Before the cows come home.
Yeah. And tell me, I'm dying to know, how did you make out with your Civitan show?
Fabulous. We had a full house. We had three standing ovations.
3 standing ovations.
It was
great.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Did you raise a lot of money?
A lot of money
so
to send
the children could go to camp.
Right. These were for the handicapped children to go to summer camp. Now, we have another show coming up, just a brief teaser here in January with Lynn Roberts, who was on the show, and his big band. And we're going to, January 21st at Alhambra High School, do a show with him. And that's to raise money for the Sexual Assault Recovery Institute. And so just keep tuned here, because we'll give you more information as we get closer to that.
Is that for the victims?
Yes, for those people that have had problems, and this is an institute that helps them recover.
Beautiful.
Want to tell folks where they can come and see some of the variety arts performers in the Valley area and out of the Valley. Flash Covington, you remember him, was sax player and does magic. He's at Rawhide. Kenton is over at Maryland's Mexican food restaurant. Bob Morgan at the Goldfield Ghost Town in Apache Junction. Gene Urban at number 10 Downing Street in Scottsdale. Kevin Barnes up at the Excalibur Hotel in Las Vegas, doing the Merlin thing up there. Jay Malbrough at the Adobe Oven in Ahaha, the Vaudeville Review. And John Crowley at summertime. A lot of people go up to Colorado. Stop by and say hi to John Crowley at Professor Hanratty's Theater of Magic and Illusion in Silverton, Colorado. I've performed there. Durango, Silverton, the train that runs through is beautiful. And Kim Welsh, our friend, is over at the Hop in Glendale. Kim will be a guest on our show very soon, one of these days. Right now, we are going to get ready to prepare to meet our guests. We need a little mood music, if you would, please, Van. A little mood music for us. That's excellent. Just perfect. Sets the mood, because we have some Western artists on our program today. This is a couple that is preserving the cowboy heritage with their variety act. Very appropriate, because the Will Rogers Follies is on Broadway, and a very big, those are the dogs.
Get along, little doggy.
My dogs are barking. They've appeared in 12 motion pictures, 65 television westerns, and they've done stunts as well as acting. Don has worked with some of the biggest stars in the business. He's appeared in the United States, Korea, and Japan. His wife Lydia was born on the island of Bali, Indonesia, and assists Don, as well as performing stunts of her own. And together they perform a whip act and trick roping stunts with audience participation. So
sounds good.
Sounds like we're going to get wrapped up in this one, Van. Prepare to meet our guests for today, Don Eagle and Lydia. Don, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Brad.
And
nice
Lydia,
to have us.
You're a very lovely lady, and thank you for being with us on the program here today. Don, did you grow up on a ranch? Is that where you learned to do all of this roping and whips and all that kind of thing?
Well, I grew up on a dairy farm up in Wisconsin.
In a dairy farm, so that was really appropriate.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of pull, you know.
Brought back a lot of
left holding the bag sometimes, but you know what the heck, yeah. I was raised in born in a little town called Menominee, and the way it's spelled, maybe as soon as I learned how to spell it, I wanted to leave. It's spelled M-O-N-I-E, me no money. And I thought, this is no place for me, right? And during the Depression, my dad took me to see an old movie star named Tom Mix.
Tom Mix,
yeah.
one of the biggest.
Yeah, one of the biggest. He's the guy that brought all this fancy drugstore stuff that I'm wearing tonight, you know. In fact, the steer sees me. The last one I saw was heading for Yuma, about 40 miles an hour. But I met him, and he showed me how to spin a rope when I was just a little kid. And I rode Tony Jr., which was a highlight of my life at that time.
That was his horse.
That was his horse, Tony Jr. Yeah. And then he came back 2 years later with a circus, and I could do a few more tricks than he could. He's a real nice guy, though. Very good showman, you know.
Yeah.
And then I started training show horses and trick riding and Roman riding and stuff at county fairs up in the Midwest.
Now, let's not go by this too fast. Roman riding, is that where you stand
on two horses?
You stand on the back of two horses. I've seen this at the circus and some of the other...
You stand on two horses and you jump through hoop.
Now, what happens if they get distracted, and want to go in the opposite direction? Are you in trouble there?
Sometimes if you're real active, you can stand on one horse and ride it out, but most of the time you'll stay together. Some people tie them together. I never did that because if one fell, they'd both fall. See?
Yeah.
But there was a cowboy here years ago that had a wild act, a Roman act. It was really wild, and he'd jump a convertible car with him, a big old Buick back in the 40s, and they used to hire him a lot because half of the time they didn't know if he was going to end up in the car with the horses or they're going to be really wild.
Well, Buicks back then were no small automobile.
Yeah. And he was wild. He was also a world champion bull rider, very nice guy, but he was a real reckless fellow, hurt himself a lot. And then I performed at county fairs and stuff through the Midwest back during the Second World War.
Well, now let's not get ahead of our story here. How did you break into traveling with the circuses and the rodeos and that kind of thing?
That was I was training show horses, and I started training horses for doing tricks.
Now, was this on the ranch where you grew up?
On the farm. And then I would everything I'd see old Trigger do in the movies, I'd go home and teach my horse.
Really?
Oh yeah, pick up handkerchiefs, spin ropes, do stuff like that. I used to do a rope back when I was 14 with a little black and white pony, and I'd spin my ropes off the pony, and then I'd step off, and the last thing I'd do would be just a simple flat spin, and I'd say, Billy, and he'd come up and shove me, and I'd say, and the announcer would say, he thinks he can do it better than you can, and the horse would shake his head, yes, and I'd give him a rope, and he'd shake it halfway, and keep it going pretty good, and the people liked it.
How about
Then
that?
he'd hold one end of the rope, and I'd take the other end, and we'd do a skip like that, and the dog would jump, and I had a dog trained too.
And a dog that would jump the rope.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So then I got into a circus, one of the shrine circuses.
Oh, really? We have a poster.
Yeah, you have a poster
here.
right here, yeah.
Here's one of the...
And they sponsored us, and I did that, and then I went into Korea in the war. In 1950, though, I met a lot of interesting people. I met the Shah of Iran at the Biltmore Hotel here. He rode some of the horses I trained.
People don't remember that this was a big place back in the 50s for very important dignitaries to come to the Arizona Biltmore for Frank Lloyd Wright's
he came here to study irrigation for his people, He came over here twice, and I didn't know who I was going to meet. A guy called me up and said, I got a guy that's important coming out here to ride one of your horses. You want to come out and get him going so he won't get hurt with him, So I go out there, and we're standing around talking, and here comes a bunch of policemen, and here comes the mayor's car, and then the governor's car, and then this big car with a bunch of very dark-complected men carrying a lot of ammunition and revolvers and stuff. And this fellow with sunglasses got out with a very pretty lady, very pretty. And I adjusted the stirrups for him with the horse and told him how to work him. I work my horses real light, very light. And I did the same for his wife, and these guys are watching me like a hawk. So when they took off to go up the Squaw Peak, they were at the Biltmore. They started to go up the Squaw Peak trail up there. I said to one of the policemen, who is that guy? He said, the Shah of Iran.
The Shah of Iran?
Yeah, very nice fellow.
Unbelievable. So you didn't even know until after he had ridden off into the sunset.
He invited me to come over and see him.
And to bring the story full circle, now the Kuwaitis own the Phoenician where you're playing at. So I guess what goes around comes around.
Yeah, it really does.
I don't want to ignore your lovely wife over here, and so we want to meet her, and this is Lydia Eagle.
I'm Lydia.
And Lydia, very lovely, and thank you for being here. You were born in Bali, Indonesia. Now, how big an island are we talking about here? Size of Texas or New Jersey?
No. It's just a small island.
Could you throw a rock from one side to the other? Or
no. It's a little bit bigger than that. It's a beautiful island.
Now, what is it like growing up on an island? Because I know that, as far back as I can remember, the idea of growing up on an island when you're a child, it just sounds very romantic. So tell us what it was like.
Well, when I was real small, my mother already took me to a bigger island, which is Java, it's right next to Bali. And that's a real big island. So if you're in the middle of it, or, like we were in Yogyakarta, you don't even know it is an island, of course, because it's so big.
And it doesn't feel like an island.
No, it does not.
But were there a lot of...
When you get to the beach, then you know it's an island.
Right. Were there a lot of wild animals and things on the island when you were growing
up? Indonesia have a lot of tigers and snakes, all kinds of snakes. We have a lot of different vegetation, a lot different than Hawaii and any tropical other, you know, place.
Now, see, I can't imagine going to bed at night worrying about whether a tiger was going to break into my bedroom or finding a snake in the bathroom.
If you are in the rimbu, they call it the rimbu, like the jungle, you have a chance that they might come at you. Yeah. But if you're in the towns and the cities, I don't think they will come that far unless they're real hungry.
Now, tell me, what did your folks do when you were growing up? Were you?
Well, my dad used to work for the telephone company, which belongs to the government from Holland, from the Netherlands.
I see. So this was Dutch Indonesia.
Oh yes, it was at that time still a Dutch colony. And of course we had the World War II there, and after that it was a republic from Indonesia. And that's when we went back to Holland. I mean, my ancestors came from Europe, and they also intermarried people from Asia, so I have about 9 different nationalities in my family.
Sort of a Eurasian mixture.
I'm a mixture. Yes. I call myself Miss United Nations.
Well, I think you'd qualify. Well, let's find out how the two of you met, and did you do trick roping before you met Don?
No, I never touched the rope before. I liked cowboys too. I always told my mom I'd marry a cowboy someday. And I think I did find him.
I think you got a #1 cowboy here.
Right.
Tell us how you two met.
Well, I was working in a series called The 26 Men, story of the Arizona Rangers.
The 26 Men. Now, that was filmed here?
It was filmed here at a studio called Kudia City, which no longer exists.
Now, quick aside here, the Magic Club in Phoenix used to meet back in the 60s, late 50s and early 60s, at Kudia City, and one of the people we've had on our show, Andre Cole, was a member of the club at that time, and they used to go out and do shows out at Kudia City, so I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
They had a sound stage, the whole thing out there in those days, you know. Tom Mix used to make pictures there back in the 30s.
Right.
Did you know that?
Right.
Yeah, around Camelback Mountain and stuff. We did too, of course, you know. But the producer was a guy named Russell Hayden, who used to work with Hopalong Cassidy. He was Lucky on the old Hopalong Cassidy show.
Oh, sure.
He was a real stickler for authenticity. So if you were supposed to look like an Apache, which I did a lot of Indian stuff, because you know, I have some Indian blood, and they use me for a lot for Indian stuff, and you get killed a lot when you're an Indian. You work all the time, you know. And so
you're a renewable resource.
Right, that's what they do, you know. And it worked out pretty good. Anyway, he always had real skinny range horses for us to ride, no blanket or nothing on them, just a rope in their mouth. And I did a lot of that for about 4 weeks, a lot of it. And I got a very bad case of hemorrhoids. And so I thought, well, they're going back to California, so I'll just go take this, no big deal, I'll get it taken care of. So I did, and while I was in the hospital recovering, I met Lydia, who I thought was of Mexican descent, but she wasn't. She's a Dutch, actually. Dutch. Her native language is Dutch.
Now, she was a nurse, or?
Well, she works in the medical records.
Medical records.
But I brought the mail for the patients around in the wings. You know.
I see.
So I tell people that I went in for surgery for hemorrhoids. I met her, and she's been a pain ever since. You know,
well,
it worked out pretty good.
I don't think so. I think
but she puts up with all my stupidity and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you're a very lucky man.
And,
so, Lydia, when did you come to the United States then? From
57.
In 57 from Indonesia?
No, from Holland.
Oh, from Holland.
I was an immigrant from Holland here in the United States.
And what brought you over? Did you just had to get out of Europe?
Just want to go to America because, see, Indonesia is big, right? And comparing to Holland, and I like the big open spaces, so I came to Arizona. So this is the right place to come to, I think, for wide open spaces.
And back in 57, they were wide open spaces. It's getting a little crowded these days. But well, now you're holding these whips in your hands.
Right.
We don't have a lot of room in this studio.
I really couldn't work it in here. I might hurt something.
But tell me about these whips. Tell me about this act that you've developed.
This is a whip that's made in Mexico.
Can I?
Sure, you can hold it. Sure,
Okay.
And it's about 8 foot long. We use it for the smaller shows.
Look, Van, a snake.
And we use that. We use that in Iraq quite a bit because we work a lot of the better resorts, you know, and they don't have a lot of room to work. You know?
You probably don't have any trouble with hecklers then.
No, we really don't. Now the reason the whip makes the sound is the popper is actually breaking the sound barrier. So if it did hit someone, it really could cut them.
It really would.
You really could cut them open, you know.
So,
but we use that a lot.
Now, what are whips used for generally? I mean, besides keeping the men in line, what are they used for?
Cowboys use them, particularly in Australia. They do some here too. They use them to drive cattle. not to hurt cattle, just to make the noise and drive them and steer them and get to where they want.
So those of you that have seen City Slickers know that you do not turn on an electric coffee grinder or crack a whip unless you want the bulls to move.
And this whip here is about 12 foot long. It's made in the United States. It's made out of Latigo.
Oh, okay. This is a little lighter. This is a little lighter.
Yeah.
This is
now
heavier.
this whip here is what they call a performer's whip.
Now this looks like snake skin. I mean,
well, it's kangaroo.
This is very kangaroo.
Yeah, that comes from Australia.
Oh.
And give you an idea, you're holding $315.
On
here,
just
this
one
whip.
one.
Yeah.
This well.
It's 16 plat.
Yeah, but think what it's worth to the kangaroo.
Yeah, really worth a lot more. Yeah, that's why they're so expensive. Trying to protect them now, you know. Yeah. But it's very accurate. This whip is the most accurate of all three.
Yeah.
But
well, the stiffer it is, the more.
Yeah, and the fineness. See how it tapers down so fine.
This looks like snake skin because it's so finely woven.
Wherever your hand goes, the end of the whip will go.
Yeah.
You know.
And what do you do with these in your act?
Well, I introduce. I explain to the people that my former assistant of many years, No-Nose Nancy. Well, she quit last week after the accident, and I thought her nose was too long anyway. I don't know why she quit, but she did, right? So I tried to get hold of my other assistant, Three-Fingered Phyllis, but she moved over to California and didn't want to work. So I called an employment agency, and they set me up a girl named Lydia, who really doesn't know nothing about a whip. So Lydia comes up, and she's wearing a skirt and things like that. And I asked her if she's ever seen a whip bag, and she says, no. What do you do? So I told her, that sounds pretty dangerous. I don't think I want to do that. And I explained that Arizona's getting real popular with the Hollywood people, and I think I see a talent scout back there at that far table. Maybe she'll be discovered. She says, talent scout, and she starts to tap dance, right? I said, no, we're not going to dance. We're going to do a whip bag, because she does do dancing. And then she starts to sing, right, real loud. I said, no, we're not going to sing, doing a whip bag. I said, you stand over there and hold this paper, and I'll cut it out of your hand.
A little piece of paper.
Little piece of paper about this long. So she's afraid, so I give her a glove to put on, and she stands there and holds it, shaking like this, looking the other way, and, oh, you can do it. Then she starts showing off by shaking her hips back and forth, holding both hands like that. We do that a few times. Then I light a candle, and she holds the candle. I take the flame out of the candle with a whip. And then I go up to her and measure her nose. And she said, what are you doing? I said, well, I don't want the same thing to happen to you that happened to No-Nose Nancy last week, but I think your nose is short enough we don't have to worry about it, right? So I give her a piece of paper like a cigarette. And she says, I'm not going to hold that thing. You're crazy. She starts to walk away, so I wrap my whip around her and make her stay. And I say, well, I'm paying you $3 to do this. Now you better behave yourself or you won't get paid, right? So she holds the paper, and when I turn to go I step back a step and look at her from the profile, and I say, well, you got two things going for you. No Dolly Parton, right? So you don't have to worry about that, you know? So I step back, when I turn my back on her, she throws a little piece away and picks up a piece about 30 inches long and holds it, right? So I cut that in half, and then the next time I catch the back of her skirt, and her skirt falls off. And most of the people in the audience think it's an accident. She has leotards underneath it, her dance skins. And when she turns around, we have a sign on the bottom that says the end. And it's a kind of a comedy
That's
act.
Cute. I really wish we could do that or had some videotape. But maybe when we get to a larger studio sometime we can do that.
It's interesting.
Now, let's talk about trick roping. And I think we're getting ready here to stand up, and we're going to have you demonstrate a little bit.
Trick roping originated, of course, in Mexico. A lot of our Mexican friends came up here, and he had a rope, and it was a maguey rope. And this is the maguey rope. The maguey rope is made out of the century plant. Same thing they make tequila out of, right?
Oh, okay.
When Cortez came on his mission over to Mexico to kill the Indians, why, he found the Indians twisting the hemp into a rope, you know, and it's been around a long time. It's a very stiff rope, very hard to handle, and they usually use a long rope. And when you see a Mexican doing rope tricks, it's really an art, because every trick they do now, the next trick has to untwist the first one. They twist up very fast. Well, the Americans, when they saw this, of course, they wanted to copy it. So Will Rogers, why he turned around, he came up with a lot of cotton rope, which this is called Samson spot cord. You want to take your mic off? Samson spot cord, and it's used for rope spinning. And that's just
I'll hold that.
You want it? Okay. And this is called the Hondo, of course. You know.
The Hondo.
Hondo.
Yes, I saw that movie with Paul Newman.
There you go. Same thing. And then when she spins this, why she turns the spoke. This is called the spoke that goes to her hand like on a wheel. So that they fold that back towards it this way, and then she'll go out and she'll spin some ropes. Now,
okay, Lydia's going to demonstrate this for us now.
Yeah, first thing she'll do will probably be there'll be a flat spin.
That's a flat spin.
Now you see it's a nice.
Now that looks almost like an illusion. You can't go too far, Lydia. Come back just a little bit.
Camera, if you will.
That's okay. And very big. That looks almost like it's a wire in that rope, but it's actually the centrifugal force that keeps that open.
Right.
Is that right?
The faster it goes, you know, the more it'll spread out. Yeah, it'll spread out the faster she spins it, so it gets bigger all the time. When we did it for a bunch of Japanese a while back, why they thought sure it was a wire, so we went to show them. They all had to take the rope and bend to see where the wire was, you know. But now that's stepping in and out without getting her feet tangled up. I do it with my feet that were smaller, but she does a lot of things. That's walking through it. running out of the camera. And
we apologize for having such a small studio,
That's
but
called
our camera
handshaking.
folks, that's okay.
That's
Our
called
camera
handshaking.
folks are doing very good.
And
Who are some of the Western stars that you've worked with?
well,
You
I
mentioned meeting Tom Mix, but-
I worked in a picture with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis years ago. I worked with Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen, I worked with him for about a year. In fact, he shot me off of 6 different horses, 6 different Indians in 1 half-hour segment, and I came back as a cavalry sergeant looking for myself, which I think is a good trick. You know?
That's better than anything I do.
Every time I hit the ground in those days, I got $85, so I was ready to fall off any time. Now she's doing what they call a wedding ring. When you're inside the loop, that's called a wedding ring.
That's called a wedding.
And you can do a lot of things with that. I don't know what she's going to do next, but she's going to kneel down and look pretty, I guess. And that's called a pop-up. That's a jump out. See, she's getting really pretty handy with it, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Now, I suppose that you probably don't cheat on her because she'd come after you with a rope.
Oh, yeah, or a whip.
Or a whip.
I also made the mistake of teaching her to throw a knife. I used to have a knife act, too. But my eyes got bad and I kept running out of partners, so I quit, you know. But
so, can you...
yeah,
did you bring another rope
Sure,
with
I brought a rope along. I'll do a few things.
Yeah, you were going to... Now, this, is this...
Now this is very hard to work. And this Honda here was something that the Americans dreamed up. It's made out of rawhide. That's where they take the hair off the hide and don't tan it, you know.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it's called a swivel Honda, but it doesn't do much good really. But when we teach them to spin, we use a rope more like what Lydia has.
Oh, I see.
But now a rope like this is made for blacklight.
Hang on to that.
She's doing a butterfly now. This is called the butterfly.
Okay.
Any of these kind of tricks are very difficult to hold up, you know.
Yeah. Now this is
Up the arm.
Yeah,
like
a
that,
lot
you
of-
know. Yeah, you can do a lot with a rope.
Will
And
Rogers kind of thing.
I like a cotton rope because if you want to hang yourself, you're not going to scratch your neck. Which is kind of nice.
Well, that's I've always said that's very important to
Yeah.
me.
I did a show one time in Japan.
Let's have you move
I
back
worked.
over here. Just
I
a little
worked.
bit.
I
There we
worked
go.
with 37 showgirls, beautiful Oriental showgirls.
How did
right?
you ever concentrate?
Well, I'll tell you, I did the rope act. They paid me about 10 times what they're paying the girls to do it. Yeah, and the greatest part of the act though was shower time.
Oh.
37 showgirls, me taking a shower. When I came home, I was so waterlogged I used to squish when I walked. They used to call me the bathtub PFC. But she's real good at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Do
Now,
you want to show Brad how to spin a rope? You want to show Brad how to spin a rope?
okay.
Would you like to try?
Yes. Now you're going to have to come over and
Come over by him.
yeah, put your microphone back on there so that we can hear what you have to say. And I'm going to try to learn how to do this, Stan.
It's real nice.
I'm very uncoordinated, but
It's no, you'll learn. We've showed about 1,700 people this year how to
now,
spin
when
a
you
rope.
do convention shows and things around the valley, because you've worked at Camelback Inn and some of the other
Oh, yeah.
resorts around,
Wigwam.
do you get people up out of the audience?
Oh
and
yeah,
show them how to
we
do
actually
this?
a lot of times they have us as a greeter at the door, and when they come in, we ask them. And most people want to learn to spin a rope. You know,
Yeah.
the American cowboy is great all over the world. You know.
Now this is what we do. You just take over from me.
Okay.
Can you get it? There.
Okay.
See, you can do
Yeehaw!
that. See,
Look at
that?
him.
That's
Look at
great.
that.
That's great. I'll tell you.
Keep it up.
That's real good.
That's
That's
good.
Most guys can't do that for a while. You know.
Yeah, most fun I've had in a
Oh, come on now.
week or two.
A week or two, 10 minutes anyway.
That's
yeah.
great.
You did
I have
real
to learn
good.
how to do
But
that.
there's other things you can do. We have this rope here is called a skip rope. It has
Now,
a
I
brass
see you have
Honda.
these color marked. Is there a reason?
Well, no, I used to do a blacklight rope act, you know.
Oh, under
But,
black light.
yeah,
That must have been very
It's
pretty.
very pretty. All the costumes. We used to have a horse trimmed in and all that stuff back in the 50s, you know.
Uh-huh.
And this here rope is a skip rope, and that's the kind you spin this way up and down and jump back and forth through it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
made for a young man, not for me. Do it. But you can also do things like tie knots in it like that if you want to, you know.
All right.
I'm sure you've seen this many times.
Sure.
And you can tie a slip knot like that. see?
Oh, a slip knot. Now that's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You can sometimes, if you have beer and no pretzels, sometimes you can tie a pretzel. Let's see if I can do it for you. There it is. See?
There. Oh,
it is.
look at that.
Yeah.
Pretzels.
Yeah,
Get the
pretzels,
get
yeah.
the get the beer. Yeah. Get the mustard.
But that's Will Rogers made up a lot of these tricks as he went along, and it's just, you know, and he was real good with the rope. He was
Oh,
very
yeah,
hard to miss.
yeah.
He worked 2 or 3 ropes.
A lot of people don't realize what an inventor he was with.
Yeah, he was great with the rope. He was a fanatic. He would practice to skip 1,000 times a day. Up until the day he died, he was doing that stuff. Not in the airplane, of course. But
Well, maybe if
yeah.
he had a rope,
Yeah,
he
he'd probably
might
been
still
better
be
off.
alive.
But yeah, he was very good.
That's one of the things that we like to bring out on this show is that, you know, when you think of Will Rogers, you think, oh, that guy never rehearses. 1,000 times a day on
Yeah.
one trick.
Every day. Every day.
Variety arts performers work extremely hard
Oh,
at
yeah.
what they do to perfect what they do.
Your dancers, you know, in your shows like these Broadway shows, you know, hours and hours and hours of dancing. I could never do it. I could never do it myself. You know.
Unbelievable.
But I practice.
But Lydia-
she
but Lydia
practices all the
dances.
time. Yeah, she
Oh.
dances, and she does.
Well, that's-
She does a lot
Give
of tricks.
some music,
Why don't you show them your 2 ropes, Lydia?
Oh.
Okay,
like
Lydia's
that.
going to do a two-rope thing.
I'll show you
We
two
just
ropes.
need to have you stay back,
Yeah, stay back
as
and so
close
they can
to
catch
us
you.
as you
Yeah.
possibly can.
Yeah.
And how are we doing on time? We got about 2 minutes left here in the program.
How
Oh,
do you
thank
like my suit?
Your suit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's got the
Genuine Seersucker, you know. Sears made it and the sucker bought it. You
I
know
don't
that?
think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if the camera's
The
been
boots?
able to see these.
Yeah, the boots,
these
the boots and the spurs are $150.
Fabulous.
The
Well,
shirt
listen,
was
you're not
was
selling them,
75.
are you?
No, the shirt was 75, and I got the worst looking underwear in Arizona.
Now this is Lydia doing two ropes.
Yeah.
Whoops.
She wants to dance too. Come on, Lydia. She loves to dance. She loves to dance. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
We really wish we had a bigger set here to be able to show
Yeah,
you
we
more
could-
of the things that.
I got a dog to hold that jumps rope.
Now, you not only do this, but you have a restaurant supply business. We can't mention the name of it, of course, but
I have a restaurant supply, design restaurants and things like that.
you design restaurants
Sell
and
equipment,
layouts, and
yeah, stuff like that.
and what you sell things like the big walk-in freezers,
Everything,
and
everything, furniture, everything that goes into
furniture,
that.
and
Yeah.
the booths and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
appreciate
this
that.
is what keeps you busy when you're not.
Well, this is our fun.
Out doing
we
shows.
enjoy this, you know. Sometimes I feel like we shouldn't get paid for what we're doing.
What's the most difficult stunt you've done?
The most difficult stunt I've done, I used to spin 100 foot of rope.
100 foot of rope.
That's hard.
That takes a lot of.
It's a lot of weight.
yeah.
In shoulder especially. You know,
Yeah.
A lot in your shoulder. Of course, I do it on a horse that helps. You know, if you're up on the ground. But
Sure.
Even so, it's hard.
Sure.
You know. But yeah, and I used to do two ropes like she does, and I step in and out of both of them. But my feet kept growing on me. They got too big. You know. What she's trying to do right now is a very difficult stunt too.
Well, let's see if she can
see if she
do
can spin it.
the two
There
two
Now
ropes.
she's got it. Now she's got it. Yeah. You have
There
it.
we go.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
tell
it's,
you,
a
go
little
ahead.
bit
I'm
crowded.
sorry.
No, that's okay. A little bit crowded in here.
Yes, it is a little bit
But the
crowded.
ropes have been around for a long time, and I'll tell you, a cowboy didn't always carry a gun, but he always carried a rope. You know.
That's true. It can get you out a lot of jams.
And after the cowboys started seeing this trick roping, a lot of cowboys lost their jobs in ranch because they wanted to practice all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to welcome Don Eagle and Lydia to the program here today. And look for them at a Western convention near you or here in the great state of Arizona. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to support variety arts in your community. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Van.
Thank you.
Roll it. Take it out of here. Bye. And.